Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Drinks. I am joined tonight by rather should I say, I am joining the one and only, the Shaunch27. Shaunch, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, Drinks Glue? I am a cat person, but tonight, in the booth with me, I am sharing it with the certified dog himself, Drinks Glue. How's it going tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. That's actually a pretty big misconception. I'm actually the number 2 dog. The number 1 dog is indeed fact the viewer.
Yes, of course. Always.
So what we got going on tonight, Shaunch?
Yeah, so we're playing Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. It's a open world Final Fantasy VI randomizer where we get an airship. We can go between the World of Balance, World of Ruin, and the goal is to unlock and defeat Final Kefka, as you see over on Shadow Sid's screen on the left-hand side. In order to do that, we need to recruit 6 characters and find 9 Espers. Those are the gold numbers towards the bottom of your screen right there. We have lots of different options for you. This is basically like a Final Fantasy VI scavenger hunt, where you have to go and do the different world events that happened in Final Fantasy VI, and you'll get a reward. The reward will be either a character, an Esper, an item. They can be in any of those places, as randomized as it is. So pretty much what we have to do is go around and get our characters or Espers and finish off the game. So we are doing a special showcase here for one of our upcoming events called Battlegrounds. It's kind of like a game of Risk, but virtually with the Final Fantasy VI map. And this is the Triangle Island flag set. So you want to give a few things that our runners are going to encounter tonight with the flag set.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about this flag set is every character that you find is going to give you something a little extra spicy just to go with finding them. For example, if you happen to stumble across Gogo, you're going to get auto-reflect on all of your party members for the rest of the game. If you come across Lock, everybody's getting plus 15 speed. And my personal favorite, if you recruit Shadow, you're getting the dog block for everybody.
The doggo defense. Hell yeah, let's do it. So what is randomized with Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide? Well, pretty much everything. The items you find in chests and shops, the commands that the characters have, the spells that the Espers teach, where the encounters that you get, where the bosses are, they're shuffled. Same thing with the dragons, they're shuffled amongst each other, right? So we won't encounter the same ones twice. And it'll be a lot of fun to try and unlock this seed. One interesting thing about the game is that the areas of Final Fantasy VI that are available to you are based on the characters that you have. It's a concept called character gating. So we'll see who our 3 starting characters are, and that will be where all of the runners can choose to go to throughout the world. We do have a few other stipulations in the flags here, as Drinks Glue mentioned. Recruit character, get reward, basically, and all of the rewards are pretty much positive, except Auto Reflect is kind of a neutral one, right? I think that's the only one that's sort of you may not want to get.
It's highly situational. Some runners, if they're not familiar with it, do not want it. But basically what you're doing there is you're putting a wall ring on every character. Aroosta asking, which of those bonuses are going to be? Pretty much all of them are. Some a little more situational than others, but they're all going to be a benefit to the runners.
Yeah, so some other things that'll be interesting with this flag set is that there are no free characters or Espers, so if you do a world event that doesn't involve a battle, you will not get rewarded with a character or an Esper. And as you can see, we do unlock a Kefka Tower skip, which is going right to the statue bosses at 21 checks. So we'll see if our runners decide to pad out their run with additional checks in order to skip some walking around Kefka's Tower. We do also have access to Ultima in this seed, which we normally don't in most races because it is the big blue bubble win button. It does, however, cost 254 MP, which is a lot. So hopefully these runners can find an economizer if they're going to use Ultima here, Drinks Clue.
If not on the economizer, it really puts Gogo in a very useful spot. If you could just have one character that can fire one off, you can mimic the rest of the fight, and all you need to do is do that to win.
Yeah, some of the other interesting things here also are the commands. We will not have Morph, Health, Possess, or Shock, but any of the other commands are on the table for any of our characters to have. And the scaling is a bit interesting in this seed as well. So the scaling is that whatever your party highest level is, that is what the enemies in the game will be. So we start off at level 3, so the enemies will be level 3, and they will be at your same level until you get to be level 50, and that's when the enemies will stop scaling. Normally we don't scale that high. However, we do have a battle experience multiplier of 4 in this seed rather than the normal 3, so we may gain a little bit more levels than we're used to. So we'll see what our runners get to by the end here.
Yeah, and a thing with that scaling, enemies' abilities are also scaled, so you may see some of the lower level enemies you would cross in the vanilla game, such as a leader or a tunnel armor, fire off some things you may not see before, and some of those things I think are going to hurt very much.
Yeah, so the bosses will get their abilities scaled, so normally some of the more tame bosses may have some very interesting spells that our runners will have to deal with here. We do start off with 3 characters. Their stats are between 80% and 125 of what they are in vanilla. We will get 5,000 GP, and let's see who we're starting with here. Auto 3 objective, auto life 3, 8 dances, and 128 rages. So that's Mog, Setzer, and Gao. Too bad none of them have any of those abilities, as it were. Looks like we got tools with Mog, little jump action with Gao, and blitz with Setzer. So these are pretty good here.
Yeah, it's really hard to die when everybody has life 3 on them. So that's, as Arusta is pointing out in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, right off the bat, or one of the big things you want to look for to finish the game is Calmness Protection. Tier 3 of Kefka's Tower, that has a death counter of a nasty ability called Calmness, which is a physical single target, which will KO any character it hits, but with life 3 on, that's one part of the equation already solved.
Yeah, it's interesting to note, though, that some abilities do remove your status, like Revenger from Kefka, right? So if that sort of happens, then we don't have that that special ability to be re-raised from the dead here. So we're in World of Balanced Narsh, and in World of Balanced Narsh, we can go check out some 10 or so treasure chests, plus some shops. Got some sleeping bags, always good to have a nice fire by you when you're going sleeping here. But we also have access to 2 world events since we have the character Mog. We have the Lone Wolf check, and there's that economizer we were talking about there on Sid's screen in the Relic Shop.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can just find Ultima, the game is over.
There it is. Easy win now, big blue bubble button. And then the other check that we can do is the Moogle Defense, where you have to rescue Terra from falling down the cave in the vanilla game. We also have Setzer, which means we have access to 3 other checks, which include the Kolinginin, where you recruit him in the World of Balance and the World of Ruin. That is a free check, which is where Jexvarok is going, so this will be a high-tier item and not a character or an Esper. We also have Daryl's Tomb in the World of Ruin, and we can also use Search the Skies on the airship to get the Doomday spot, and that is a Dragon Horn, which will go great with our natural jumping Gao there. That's an awesome find.
That's a huge find, ladies and gentlemen. Shadow said checking out the first monster in block just to see what's cooking. He's not going to eat what's cooking, though.
Yeah, I didn't even see what it was. He reset so fast.
It was one of the PM stalkers that don't do nothing for you. So, really, checking those monsters in the box, you're trying to see if you stumble across a Katana Soul or a Gigantos. Those are the 2s you want to find. Everything else you really don't want to see there.
Well, PM Stalker is, one of those things where it's one of the only monster in the boxes that will give you some XP and MP, so it's a nice one to find, and they're relatively easy. Jexvarok also finding some dried meat in the shop, which gives us an opportunity to talk about the Gao check. So Gao unlocks the Velt check in the World of Balance or the World of Ruin, where you can give the dried meat to whatever comes up on the Velt in order to recruit them. And it also gives you access to the Serpent Trench in the World of Balance. So Jexvarok is taking his dried meat, and he's heading right over to the Velt right now. Going to get this done over with nice and easy here.
I like this play from Jackrox. One of my favorite plays is when you get Gal early, get that dry meat, get over there, get your free, in this case, no free lunch. Get your high tier item, hop on down to that trench, and by the time you're out of it, you'll have some nice levels under your belt, and you'll be good to go the rest of the seed.
Well, the Velt check is actually not considered a no free thing because you do have to actually fight something on the Velt, right? And since Jexrock has not fought any other battles, he will always get the single Lobo, which should be pretty easy. And there we go. We are going to get a reward merchant sprite. Means that this will probably be an Esper here as soon as we feed it the dried meat. Meanwhile, Shadow Sid in the Returner's hideout doing some more looting and shopping.
Yeah, it's nothing much so far for Shadow Sid, just a red cap for his troubles, but still a few treasure chests to go. Bahamut for Jexrox.
Yeah, that's a pretty good Esper summon if we need it in a pinch. It is non-elemental, very high damage to basically everything on the screen. And that's a pretty good start there. Jex looks... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Especially with that commonizer, back up a little bit the way of the Narsh. As soon as he finds that, he's going to be spamming his beat Bahamut until he finds something better.
All right, so both doing a high five with Returner's hideout here, and we're going to head over to South Figaro for Sid in order to head into the basement for the tons of treasure chests there. So the first 5 to 10 minutes of a Worlds Collide seed are usually just shopping and getting some stuff for your characters with looting. And oh no, Mog, get out of the way, please.
Come on, you're killing me here, dog.
So the Y NPC value is actually set to reflect, so that's why Jex is able to turn that NPC into Mog. That's one of the little interesting things that we added for an April Fool's Day joke one time, and it's become, the Y to change NPCs into different things has become sort of a staple there. Some Minerva in the World of Balance South Figaro there for Shadow Sid. Nice piece of armor.
Going the often very less traveled route to get over to that weapon shop. He must not be wanting to do a whole basement dive, so that's why he's getting out of there this way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, different runners have different approaches as to which way they'll go through South Figaro. I've certainly have seen both here, and it looks like we've got some shopping that we want to do in order to stock up on our characters. So with Setzer with Blitz, usually that is more of a magic-heavy command. Gao has both GP Ring and Jump. We do have the Dragon Horn for Gao, which is great. However, we need to get him some sort of weapon. And then in Worlds Collide, or at least in this flag set, characters can equip their original equipables plus a 33% chance at random. And in Vanilla, Gao can't equip anything with his fighting hand. So there's not a lot of things that we could give Gao. So we'll see if we find something along the way. Jexvarok picking up some earrings, knowing that we've got a character with Blitz. So that's a very nice pickup there for him as well.
Yeah, very nice. He's got that Bahamut. He's got those earrings under his belt. Now he's not. You just gotta wonder when he's going back for the Colonizer and then start taking fights. There's not much more he needs at this point in time.
Alright, so I just bumped you up a tad on the restreaming end of things. Let us know how the audio is as well, if that makes anything better. So it looks like Sid is trekking through the bottom of the basement here. There are some forced encounters down here. We do give some random encounters rather. We give our runners 3 Moogle Charms at the start of the seed, which they could leave on in order to avoid those random encounters, or you could take off the Moogle Charm to get some extra levels under you. However, with the scaling in this seed during school at Party Highest ×1, I think I'm just going to leave everything at level 3 here.
Yeah, it would be more just of a time sink in my opinion. If you're not fighting to push... Oh, an experience egg. Very nice. If you're not fighting to push progression, I believe you're just wasting your time.
Well, here's another question. Is that experience egg actually nice? Because that means that one of our characters is going to get way more levels than the other, which means the enemies will be at higher levels than the rest of the party. So that's going to be an interesting thing for our runners to consider here.
That's going to be very interesting to consider. It's going to boil down to their philosophy. I like to just get one character up there and then worry about the rest later. If that's going to be one of their ideas to get going here, then it should be no issue whatsoever. If they want a more balanced party, you may be one of them switching around between fights just to keep those party level average at the same.
Sid coming back in for those earrings. So earrings will give you a plus 25% magic power boost, or if you have two of them, a plus 50% magic boost. So very powerful relics. In Worlds Collide, your best defense is a good offense. You can't get hurt if the thing dies before it gets to attack you, right? So that's how we roll here.
Pedal to the metal all the time, baby.
Well, as I mentioned, this is a showcase of our Battlegrounds flag set, as we're going to get to Zenthi check 54,000 for that glowing stone. So it is an Esper there at Tizen. We do have some cash on hand, so we'll see if either one of our runners decides to sell it for getting that Esper. Remember, in most normal cases, you don't want to get too much progression for free because that'll increase the scaling of enemies. Not so in this flag set. Again, party highest ×1.
So you can buy all the Espers you can physically afford. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in more about our Battlegrounds event that is coming up and starting next week on August 13th, I just put the link to our Google Doc that explains the event in detail in the chat. Come on in and go on over, read it over. If you have any questions about anything you read on it, throw them up in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer it for you.
Yep, and it looks like Jex Rock is going to choose the Doomgaze spot, and it is the Dabbing Yeti. So Dabbing Yeti weak to fire, although we do not have any fire spells as of yet. I didn't see what was on that Esper that Jex Rock picked up. He was going to crack a Thunder Rod here, which will do a max damage Bolt 2 spell. Unfortunately, that's not what the Yeti is weak to, but that's okay. It's still 700 damage, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah, his Bahamut Esper didn't have anything of note, just a Cure 2. So he's going to have to come up with some damage another way here.
All right, so Sid getting the Bahamut Esper as well from the Velt, and we'll see what he decides to do, where he decides to go. Some decent spells actually on Bahamut. However, they have a pretty high NP cost right now for some of them level 3. That's the only bad thing about staying on level 3 is you can't do a lot of damage, and you can't cast a lot of spells, so it might be nice to get off of level 3 as Jex Rock gets through that fight with that Pogo Gal.
Very well done by Jex Rock.
Yeah, so the Doomgaze spot can only reward an Esper or an item, and in this case, since the no free progression flag is off, rather the no free characters and Espers is on, usually we'll get an Esper, and that is Bismarck, so that's Jex's second there for him. And now's the time it looks like all of our runners are going to start doing their checks here. So, like I said, about 10 minutes in, oh, that's a spicy Bismarck there. Mute, Fire 3, Magic Power +2. Much cheaper to Zen Thief in the World of Ruin, only 17,000. I think Sid can afford that. He's got 10 now. And he could probably flip some of these items into an Esper there, and it'll be his second as well.
Yeah, that's a huge find there for Jexy, that +2 Magic Power. Especially if he happens to come across an Ultima, he'll be doing quad 9s before you know it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, speaking of Calmness Protection, there's Golem. Speed +2, that'll be great to put on our jumper, aka Gal, in order to have him just do much faster turns. I think Jex either forgot to put on the Moogle Charm, or, yeah, because he was doing the Velt check at one point. Forgot it.
Forget the Moogle Charm gets us all eventually, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I mean, there you see already at level 9 on his characters from doing the Umaro fight and doing the random encounter there. So that means his boss at the end of Daryl's Tomb here will also be level 9. There is an opportunity to peek a monster in the box here. We did see PM Stalkers, and we're probably looking for that offering monster in a box that you mentioned earlier, or maybe the Gigantos one. So we'll see if Jex decides to peek that monster in a box.
Yeah, and besides Katana Soul giving you an offering, another nice thing is that he does for you is he gives you a huge amount of GP, and that often gets overlooked in my opinion by a lot of runners.
Yeah, tossing that money around, especially in a seed like this where, we do know that Shazam Thief is somewhat affordable at only 17,000. And let's take a look at the flags here. There is one Esper available in the auction house as well. So if we want to go to the auction house, we could potentially get one Esper out of there. So you always need a ton of money to get to the auction house.
Yeah, it looks like Jack is going to heal up and see what's inside this chest by the save point.
Unfortunately, it is just the Lobo.
It is not the droid he is looking for.
Well, he will get not even enough XP to level up there. And it looks like Shadow Sid will be joining Jexvarok in Daryl's tomb. Very interesting. So this is what we would consider a peekable check, because you could read the inscription on the tomb here. It tells you what the reward is. It is an Esper Seraphim. So we at least know that. And we also know, between our collective minds, that our next character has to be at one of Mog's checks, at Kefka at Norsh, or at the Serpent Trench. So we'll see where our character is. This is going to be a bit of a rough one here for Jex for Ifrit. The Ifrit Shiva battle. Ifrit is weak to ice and cast fire. Meanwhile, Shiva is weak to fire and cast ice, and I don't think he's learned Fire 3 yet. So we'll see how both of our runners deal with this, because Sid is going to run into the same problem as well.
And Sid's not going to have much for this Ifrit as well, so they're just going to have to chip away and then hope a blaze doesn't come out on him.
Yeah, because he's still level 3, right? He hasn't done any fights yet.
It has not, so one multi-target fire may do him in.
Yep. Another thing about the Ifrit Shiva fight, you can actually run away from this fight during the transition between the Ifrit and Shiva sprites. And here's that AoE fire we were talking about.
Yep.
So I don't think that Setzer can die, because he's got the Minerva on, but he might not be able to finish this fight in a timely fashion. So we'll see what Shadow Sid decides to do here once he finds out that it is the Ifrit Shiva fight.
Yeah, Shadow Sid's going to be in a similar boat. He's just going to be able to jump and slowly chip away. He's not going to be able to bust down Ice 2 and get this over with in one turn. And as you can see, his auto crossbow just doing 21 damage. He's
Yeah, this is level 3. Let's do it.
Level 3 is not a fun time, ladies and gentlemen.
Debilitator strat's coming out, so that will change the weakness of the boss. Not that we could do much of anything about it, because he's still level 3 and hasn't learned any spells or anything like that. So that would have been cool had we maybe learned Aurabolt for Setzer, or something that would make Shiva or Ifrit rather weak to Pearl, right? So.
And looks like Jexwalk's going to go out of there and try to get his Fire 3 up and just wait for a Shiva switch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he unlocks that Fire 3, and if he's able to afford casting it in the first place. Alright, another Shiva appearance. Normally we don't get to see Shiva in a lot of seeds, so this is kind of nice here.
Yeah, if it's one of those fights you want to run into until you either really, really want to see it, or you really, really don't want to see it.
Yeah, this is one of those nightmare Kefka Tower situations where you run into this fight with the wrong party and you have no way to actually defeat it,
Jexrock's got his Fire 3, and he should be able to get it off one time. So it looks like what he's going to do is put it on another character so he can get 2 of them off. It's really one Fire 3.
Very nice.
Oh.
So Sid got 2 out of 3 for the runaway strat. Now all he needs is Setzer to die, and this fight is over. He won't get any XP, but he'll actually win the fight. Problem is, Setzer has the Minerva on.
No, Shadow Sid. Oh no.
Yeah, he's got to queue up the runaway, and because you can only actually run away when your ATB bar is full. So it's a bit of a tricky situation to get this runaway trick to actually work, because Ifrit and Shiva will change between them after 5 attacks. So you kind of have to attack at the, you have to queue up your ATB bar to be full and sort of run away at the same time, and he does it anyway. Now he's going to be mad that Mog and Gal ran away. They will not receive XP for this fight, but hey.
That is a shame.
He's gotten through it.
He showed off a very impressive, very broad, impressive game knowledge there, and unfortunately it cost him in the end.
Yeah, because this is especially brutal with Setzer at level 10 and the rest of his party at level 3. His enemies are going to be level 10, but his team is not going to be, so...
It may as well be Setzer versus the next box.
Yep. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, we've seen worse situations and runners come back and with their back against the wall and come through it.
But as you mentioned, excellent game knowledge there from Sid, knowing that that is something that you can do to get past this particular fight here. And in Worlds Collide, you not only need randomizer knowledge, but you need deep vanilla game knowledge, because all the boss weaknesses are still the same. The boss scripts, for the most part, are the same. What the weapons do, what their stats are basically the same. And it looks like now that we have the Shiva making her appearance on screen, we're going to burn it with fire. And there you go, one shot.
There we go. That's what we're talking about when you said you either really want to see Ifrit or you don't want to see him.
All right, so Jex is going to even up the race here at 3 espers apiece.
It looks like Shadow Sid is going back and getting his economizer.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, especially knowing that Ultima is a possibility in this seed.
It's ladies and gentlemen, not one economizer, ladies and gentlemen, 2 of them. I believe he's going to go.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Enough. Well, listen, the economizer sure would have helped out with all those fire 3s. There it is, that economizer.
All right, just one right now, but we may be back for more. And really, once he learns Fire 3, he's got that +2 magic power up. He's got Bahamut as well to throw off one time each fight. Only thing that's going to stop Shadow Sid right now is a Magi Master is something that's going to be a absorb fire.
All right, well, we do know that Celeste is the reward if we ever find tomorrow. And it looks like Sid, going back here, is going to be getting the Lone Wolf check from Mog. So we're going to get a Lone Wolf check and perhaps a Kefka at Narsh play here. And that's the same thing that Jex is thinking as well.
Yeah.
Of course I lied.
Jexy is not one to go on the path everybody else goes on. He likes to carve his own path in this world.
Yeah, so the part of the problem with the Kefka and Narsh check here is you have to split your party. So Sid's characters are going to get even more mismatched levels, and that is Terra at the top of Lone Wolf. So we have 2 characters behind Mog checks. That is Locke there for Jex Rock, and it's going to be Terra here for Sid. So let's see what we get. So for Terra, we get the Magitech upgrade, and for Locke, we get +15 speed. So those will be the rewards that our runners will get from recruiting these characters. And that is a control Terra. Not something we ever want to see with commands, but hey, she's got 44 magic power, and we already know that there's some pretty beefy spells in this seed, so that's nice to see.
I'm very interested to see how Shadow Sid is going to handle this party split situation here, especially with one character being level 10. And the other character's not having much to offer.
Yeah, so Jex, not having a full party here, is actually going to get one of the random Mughals, and it is Kupek with steel, so not very helpful. Did actually steal a weapon. That could be cool, and uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, that's not going to do much of anything. So Jex, with that vanilla game knowledge, knows that Marshall is actually susceptible to instant death, so cast Air Anchor on him so that he would die on his next turn. And these Tap Dancers, which are normally the logos in the vanilla game, but we randomized the enemies, the homies that Marshall has, are dispatched of pretty easily there from some fire magic and some jumping. So that's character number 4. Locke has throw, which is really nice to see.
Throw is always an ability you want to love to see.
And we get plus 15 speed. That'll certainly help out with Gal. Like I said, who's got jump. Nice soldier skip from Shadow Sid here, and it is the Ghost Train. So unlike in the vanilla Final Fantasy VI game, we can't just drop a Revivify on it. And I don't know if Sid is suplex. He's got the suplex unlocked.
We're going to Suplex City, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on, Sid, show it to us.
Get that orb out of here. Get that orb out of here. I don't think this train's going to survive this Sunflare. I don't think we're going to be seeing this train suplex.
Yeah, so we did turn off the undead property for bosses, so unfortunately we can't just put a Phoenix down on him and just call it a day. We're going to have to give Sid some... Oh!
Oh, no. You should have suplexed while you had the chance, Sid.
That's right. Nobody puts train into the corner.
I don't like free paying off for Sid.
And there it is.
There it is.
No suplex for Sid means he officially lost the race. However, he does get past that fight, which means he is going to get a reward. And since it was a soldier sprite, right, this is going to be either an Esper or an item here.
Yep, let's... What is he getting for his troubles? It is...
After getting terrorized by Shiva at the beginning of this trip, it's only fitting that we get Shiva in return.
Very fitting. If only the movie could be Ifrit as well, but we know it's not.
Yeah, that's more tier 3 elemental spells with Bolt 3, so got a lot of nice magic spells this seed. And Jex has got his lock first, and he's going to go digging in this box to find these PM stalkers. So I wonder if Sid is going to substitute Locke in for one of these other party members. I would have to imagine it would probably be for, either Setzer or Mog after getting Gal with Jump and a Dragon Horn, and then Terra with that really high magic power. But hey, we'll see what the runners want to do here.
Yeah, he's probably debating it right now, but once he finishes this fight and see that throw, it's a no-brainer. You got to throw him in there. That's just a matter of for who.
All right, so hopefully...
Yeah, we got Jack shots going up the rest of the Narsh now. We got dueling runners just going different paths, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so this is stuff that we've already seen. So if you would like to, make sure you check out our Discord if you're interested in maybe playing this game for yourself. We have a friendly community that will show you the ropes and show you around. ff6worldscollide.com is the website where you can get started rolling your own seeds. Or if you have any questions about anything, including life in general, we're that kind of Discord. Be sure to come check us out there. And
if you Shadow Sid getting his own taste of the shake waste. Ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to join our Discord tonight, come on in, say hi. Feel free to at me if you like. If you have any questions, you'll have more than a number of people willing to answer them. It's one of the friendly communities around it, and we just like to invite you to come on in and join us.
All right, so let's see what Jex Ferox decide here. He just found Terra, and his Magitech upgrade has been complete. He doesn't necessarily have to make this decision until after Kefka and Narsh here. So he at least has 5 characters when he's doing this check, which means he'll be able to get a full party. One of the advantages of finding Locke first.
It looks like he's going to pass on the Terra.
Interesting. Yeah, Control Terra is not so hot. I would argue that her magic power still keeps her in the running, especially, knowing that we have access to... Oh, God. Gal is just throwing money at the problem there. And by the problem, I mean his team.
Yeah, Yeah, you gotta remember what Jax Rock did earlier though, when he took those grind fights to put Fire 3 on all those characters. That Fire 3 has that +2 magic power Esper, and he's spread that around a little bit, so he's got a couple of party members he's invested in though. So maybe a little sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, rough fight here for Shadow Sid, getting party members stopped and confused. Speaking of confused, here comes the Evil Toot. Oh god. And it looks like Gal went for the break, and you can't, I don't think, petrify the Ghost Train, but you certainly can use Doom. There we go.
You could certainly try to petrify him.
Yeah, and unfortunately we don't get the suplex from Jexfarok either on the train. Cancel this race, it's over.
We apologize. Hit that unfollow button.
This is not representative of the normal Worlds Collide affair here.
Jexrox has been a little feisty tonight. We went at it earlier in the race channel before they got started. He must have had a few drinks in him because he's very combative tonight with us.
All right, well, both of our runners finally getting past their bosses, and we now have 5 characters and 4 Espers apiece. So let's talk about our new characters that we just got. So Locke will give us 3 different checks: the Phoenix Cave in the World of Ruin, the Norse Weapon Shop, where you get the choice between a Esper and an item, or in this case, since it's considered a free check, an item and an item. And he also opens the South Figaro Cave, where you do the tunnel armor fight in the vanilla game. Tara, meanwhile, gives us 5 checks. She gives us the Leet River, which I say first, because otherwise I'll just forget that it exists. We also have access to the Welk spot, which we could have done in Narsh by just walking up, but it looks like both of our runners want to check the weapon shop and potentially the Cursed Shield here.
Well, fun fact about the weapon shop check for Locke: whatever you don't get behind the weapon shop, whatever you don't split to the weapon shop is gonna appear back in the other World of Balance Marsh behind that Wilk Gate check. So you would really saving yourself, double tripping here by going here first, selecting the preferred item, and then going back and completing the Wilk Gate check, and then getting the leftovers right behind it. You
are so smart. That's why you're in the booth. And that's why I'm also in the booth, because I'm not good enough to race. Anyway, that is a 6-battle Cursed Shield there from Jexfarok. So when you get Locke, you also get access to the Cursed Shield, and that'll give us 6 battles to unlock. And most importantly, in this particular seed, as a bit extra of an incentive, that will teach us Ultima at a ×1 rate once it finally gets converted into the Paladin Shield. So we'll see if our runners decide to do that, even though they may not have something to mitigate the bad effects of that Curse Shield.
Yeah, knowing that Curse Shield has a battle of 6, really makes me want to go to Serpent Trench right now, because if you follow the right path, you can get six encounters exact, and after that you're rocking and rolling. You got your Economizer, you got your Magic Power +2, and you got Ultima coming, although very slowly. A couple dragons out the way, and you're good to go the rest of the game.
Yep, so it looks like Jack is going to take the Drinks Glue route. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. And we got an old man in the cave. Narsh is just stacked with characters this seed. Jeez. So some other options for us that we've got is Terra also opens up where Sid is going to, the cave to the Sealed Gate via the Imperial base. There's a lot of treasure in this check, so it's a pretty popular one to do as soon as possible, because you can get all of this treasure and figure out how it impacts your party. She also unlocks the Zozo Tower, where she turns into her Esper form for the first time, and there's a ribbon in the chest, and some fixed dice, and the Force Shield, and another Dragon Horn. This is a pretty stacked basement here. Anyway, she also gives us the World of Ruin Mobilist check, where you fight from Baba. So those are the 5 that Terra will unlock. So we got lots of options open to us now after getting funneled into Narsh, basically.
Yeah, when Shadow Sid gets into this, he won't be receiving an Esper or a character for his troubles. He'll just be getting a high-tier item. But the high-tier item, the chest along the way, makes this worth it at this point in the race.
Yeah, so we got Strago, and he has Magitech, which we already unlocked the Magitech upgrade by getting Terra. So that is a no-brainer. Insert Strago into party immediately, as Magitech's upgrade with the Tech Missile is one of the strongest abilities in the entire game.
That's very nice indeed for that old man.
We do get 24 lures from Strago, although I don't think we've seen lore yet. So if we have a character with lore, we can have access to all of the lures, including Whirlwind, Grand Train, Quasar, all those fun ones that we all love to see.
Yeah, fun fact about all of the lures. Sourmouth is one of the lesser used ones, but there are a lot of enemies in this game that are weak to specific elements, and Sourmouth covers most of those. So, very, very highly situational, but very highly useful in those situations.
Yeah, especially on dragons, because dragons usually have one status weakness, and Sourmouth basically covers almost all of them. So if you're up against a dragon fight, you've got Sourmouth, you might as well cast it, and it will greatly help you out with most of the dragons there. Gold Hairpin, not as useful as the Economizer, but hey, we'll take it for free once we're done learning our Ultima, and that'll cut the NP from 254 to whatever half of that is. Math on stream is hard. 127, that's the number. So we'll see what Sid gets here at the end of the Cave to the Seal Gate. Meanwhile, Jex Rock is going to head to South Figaro Cave as one of Locke's checks. And we'll talk about Strago. So Strago does unlock 3 checks of his own. The Fanatic's Tower, where the gimmick is you can only use magic in the tower. There is a high-tier item at the top, which counts as a check. There is a dragon, which also counts as a check. And there is a fight at the top for a reward at the bottom, which also counts as a check. So Fanatic's Tower offers us 3 checks in one spot, which will be nice for that 21 bosses, or 21 check skip. And oh no. Ruh-roh.
Oh, Raggy.
We do have some tools to deal with Magimaster here, including Throw and Tech Missile. But
we don't have a third tool, but we do have some other ways to get around this monster.
Yeah, so Magimaster will change his elemental weakness every single turn. So this will be an interesting one to see, because we have Pummel, which is defense ignoring and also non-elemental. We've got Tech Missile, defense ignoring, non-elemental, and we've got Throw, which ignores defense, but we've got Gao doing Gao things. Come on, Gao.
For the correct team this seed.
Gao just nerfed our biggest damage dealer into the ground there by accidentally casting Stop on him. Thanks, Gao.
It deals some more pain.
This is why I love watching Worlds Collide. I'd be so angry if this is me, but you gotta laugh sometimes or else you'll cry. So Strago will also open up at its rock in the World of Ruin, as well as the Burning House, where it's a lot of forced encounters, unless you can dodge the flames, and then a boss at the end of it as well. So we're going to get treated to a dual Magimaster fight here from both of our runners, so that'll be fun for us here in the booth to see, because, again, we don't have to actually do it.
It will be very fun for us to watch, but it will be not fun for our runners to play.
No.
And by default, that out of the life. Oh no, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, so Locke with 3 HP, Setzer the Demon Child, and Strago's back down again. Not to be confused with Mog, who we also have, just not in our party. So, question for you, Drinks Glue, and more of a philosophical one. Is the Moogle suit made of real Moogle, or do you think it's a synthetic?
I like not to think about that, because one of the quality runners and my great friend Moogleplex is a big advocate for Mog as being one of the better characters. So I like to think that, over in Phasma, excuse me, maybe it's not Phasma, maybe it's Jador, where you find the Moogles in the middle of the game. They're not just over there, poaching Moogles out of Narsh and bringing them back and skinning them alive.
Yeah, that would be not so good. All right, so we got Strago up for Tech Missile. Unfortunately, that didn't finish it off, and Gao is still confused. That's one of the dangers of the Curse Shield, If you are going to use the Curse Shield like this, I suggest you remove all of the weapons from your character and try to give him the best defensive gear as possible, so that this way he doesn't get, he doesn't go rogue like Gao did.
That is usually good advice, unless you happen to have a heal rod like Jexrox does on your screen right there.
Oh, that's real nice.
Huge opportunity there.
Alright, he makes it past Magimaster and has his full party up to boot, so that's a really nice fight there to slog it out, and gets rewarded with a very nice Esper there with Siren. Oh, hello. Not only does it teach Ultima at a times 7 rate, but Siren will also mute everything on the screen, which is especially nice for the second tier of the final boss.
Yes, indeed. Now, he's got Ultima at a nice rate on one item. It's only a matter of time before all 4 characters have Ultima, and his screen is just blue the rest of the game.
Yeah, Ultima is a... I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, I thought you were...
Oh, no.
You're saying something, my bad. So yeah, Ultima does take a while to cast. It's got a very lengthy animation, so it's usually the best thing to do, but it's not always the best thing to do. If you can take out an enemy in one shot with something else that is a quicker animation. This is a speedrun after all. So
yeah, we'll see how much Jexrox has his time in mind when he comes across some targets where a Fire 3 will do the job just as well. He has that lingering. Is he going to be mindful of that about 4 to 5 second time save every cast? It doesn't seem like much, but when you fight 10 bosses with that possible setup, those 5 seconds add up when you do them 2 or 3 times a fight.
Alright, so we got another dabbing Yeti here for Shadow Sid, and he does have fixed dice from Og, it looks like, and he has got some fire stuff like Fire Dance and Fire Schemes, and that is the end of Umaro there. Using the ribbon to nullify most of the bad effects of the Curse Shield unlock there, except for the Condemned timer, so huge difference for Sid as compared to Jex, and Jex is going to pay the steep price for Golem there. Didn't go to the World of Ruin to know that it is much cheaper. And our runners are evened up, I believe, at 6 Espers apiece now.
Actually, I believe you beat me. I believe Shadow Sid should be at 5 Espers. I believe I beat you to it on him.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But the good news with Shadow Sid is that Esper he's getting is going to have +2 magic power. He's getting a little later than Jexrox, but better late than never.
Yep. And he's back in the World of Ruin Marsh, and we'll pick up his old man here. I wonder if Jex is going to continue on through the Cave to the Sealed Gate check, knowing that it can only be a high tier item here, and especially after finding all that stuff there in the treasure room.
Yeah, it's not at this point in the game at 41 minutes. You're cooking. He's got Ultima coming. He's got Fire 3.
Oh, he's got fixed ice and jumpy Gao.
Yes, indeed. There's not much more you need. So it's going to be about 2 minutes to get to that cave to get this high tier item. It's not worth it. You could even almost cherry pick what you wanted your reward to be, and it would almost never be worth it at this point.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would help is maybe an Illumina. But even then, he's got somebody to throw. He's got Magitech Strago right now. He's got that jumping Gao. And I think you just need something for Setzer to do, but that's what the Ultima times 7 is all about.
And he's going to go on down there. By the time he's out of this, he should have Ultima on at least one character, and that shield will be uncursed. Yeah,
so as you mentioned before, Drinks Glue, good play here. Hop into the Serpent Trench. At a minimum 3, and maximum, I believe, is either 5 or 6 encounters here in the Serpent Trench, and we'll get some damage done.
Yeah.
Speaking of damage, okay, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, you will see some enemies do some things you haven't seen before. I believe Atma Weapon does Blowfish and Vanilla, but you haven't lived until you've seen the Atma Weapon hit you with Ultima.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, all of the enemies are scaled to the party highest level. So if you've been carrying around that experience egg on a character, I think now during school is the time where we might see some of that discrepancy in levels actually start hurting some of our runners here. We do get to level 50 at the max, but the maximum ability scaling comes at level 44.
Yeah, Jex Rock's taking the long way through the trench.
Oh, did Shadow Sid not even check what Strago has? Oh,
no, he's missing out.
I mean, he does have Ultima. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, Tech Missile's great, but when you have Ultima on the table, it kind of doesn't matter almost.
Well, Tech Missile is so fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, it's free, so you don't have to worry about that economizer or sleeping bag over and over again. So,
yeah,
that's a huge mistake by Shadow Sid by not just peeking.
Yeah, I mean, I can get it. I get tunnel vision like that a lot, where I'm like, all right, I know exactly what my team's doing. Let's just go to the end of the game, you know? So we'll see where Sid turns up next. Our runners have done mostly the same stuff, so far.
And the third act, it looks like that's where we're going to branch off. We got Jexy down in the Serpent Trench, and let's see where Shadow Sid's going to go next.
It looks like we're going to do some Moblas here. So we can actually know what the reward is by talking to the little girl in the bottom of the house. You do, however, get your party split in half because of From Baba's Baba Breath. So this is another one of those situations where two of your characters are going to get XP and two of them are not. And that kind of stinks in a party highest times 1 scaling setting.
And it's Starlord waiting for Sid if he chooses.
Yep, and the great thing about this play here is he already has 6 characters, right? So all he needs is Espers. So really smart play to go to a check like this where we could peek what the reward is before we can get it. He's not going to waste his time getting a 7th character for no reason.
Yeah, and the next check, it doesn't matter if it's a character, it doesn't matter if it's a suit, or it doesn't matter if it's an Esper, because only 21 total counts for his Kefka Tower skip.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he hooked up his tracker, so I can't see exactly, what checks he has and has not done.
And we got the first Ultima sighting of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Thing to behold.
There you go. I also did not see what was at the end of the Serpent Trench.
I did not either.
I'm going to guess it was an Esper because we got 6 characters there. It might also have been a dead check, so...
I think it had to be an Esper. Cause I think with no free launch, there's only one check that can be... One check that would not... Ooh, nice. Nice check there. I think there's only one possible boss check where it could be a dead check.
Yeah, it's I think 4 checks that are dead with the no free progression flag, because we've got a lot of checks in the game. Oh, yikes.
Oh no, an Atma 2v1 is never fun.
Yeah, so we had Atma weapon, and now we have Toilet Atma here.
But we have Ultima, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and this is why we normally don't have Ultima set to on, because it makes the races rather trivial after a certain amount of time, right? Especially with an economizer. Like, we did try to sort of nerf, if you will, Ultima by making it cost 254 MP, but with having easy access to an economizer, that makes this, again, sort of trivial. Mm-hmm. Fight's going to take a little bit, because it's only 2 characters versus 4 dealing damage. As Jex Rock is heading up the Zozo Tower here, one of Terra's checks.
Yeah, I like this play from Jexy. I'm always a big fan of going where, nobody else is going to go, just so you can carve out an advantage for yourself, finding something that they won't. Hopefully this pays off for him. And we're going to put one more...
Oh, Sid gets the bad news that there was Magitech Strago.
He found out the hard way. But that's all right. He's really powerful at this point. There's really no wrong decision as long as you're going fast.
Yeah. He does put in Strago here, but he takes out Locke, who has Throw, so that was another call that you can make. But again, as you mentioned, right, we've got access to a very high magic power spell, so it doesn't really matter much what we do from here on out.
And Narapa is vulnerable against with abilities such as X-Zone as Doom. Well, not Doom because they have Reflect Up, but X-Zone can beat Narapa pretty easily. But when you're this powerful, it's not something you have to worry about.
Yeah, we did get the Magitech upgrade, so we have access to X-Fur, which is an instant death thing.
One more for Jexy.
Yeah, so let's see. 1, 2, so there's 6 on screen now. Or is it 5?
You should have 7? 2, 3, 4. Yeah, all those plus his Bahamut, so that's 7.
Okay. So yeah, it might have been a dead check, Serpent Trench there. But, as you mentioned, he probably uncursed the shield, so it's probably worth it just to do that.
Yeah, and even though those monsters are scaling with them, if he gets Ultima on 2 characters, at this point in the race, if I'm one of our 2 runners, all I'm trying to do is get, I got 2 characters that are very viable. I just need to turn one of my 3rd, 4th characters into somebody that can kill one boss. With just get Ultima on them, get some earrings, put that 2nd magic power plus 2 on for a few fights.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, I like this. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a sync race through the RNG cave.
Yeah, so Ebbets Rock, we did give it a bit of a buff with some of our later patches. This game is currently in somewhat active development, so ff6worldscollide.com is the link to the website. And one of the things we did to make this check less miserable is when you get your 22 pieces of coral, it's a much higher chance you could find the boss room, so that you're not stomping around in the dark here. So
yeah, once you get your 22 pieces of coral, there's only 3 places you can warp to: the exit, the save point, or the promised land.
Alright, so we'll see which one of our runners gets there first.
Adel said did a little bit of menuing, so he's a little behind. But he can still catch up. The RNG cave can be a cruel mistress.
Yep, it just depends on what procedurally generated room you get next.
Yep. Oh no, that's the second 5-piece for Jexy. He's way far in ahead. It's his race to lose through this cave.
I never thought we'd be counting Coral as a speedrunning game, but hey, it is what it is.
3-piece with a side of biscuit for Sid. Oh no. Save point. That's not going to get him there. Another single tender.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, there are a few checks that we still have available to us that are what would be considered peekable checks. We have Fanatic's Tower, which you could tell from whatever the sprite is at the bottom what the reward is. We also have access to, it's Tunnel Armor, which is going to be an easy fight here. Nothing that we need to do.
Very easy fight. Let's see if Jexy is aware of that Fire 3. Yep, he is very much aware of the single target Tier 3 magic taking less time that Ultima.
Yeah, Tunnel Armor weak to lightning, and you basically see they entered the fight around the same time, and Jex taking down that fight pretty swiftly there with 1 Bolt 3, which did about the same as Shadowstid's Ultima, believe it or not. So that's the power of the weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And we somehow are miscounting some Espers there, because that was Esper number 9 for Jexarock, so the Serpent Trench must have been an Esper, and that was our Esper, so that is his go mode here.
The only thing standing between Jexy and Kefka now is the tower Kefka built himself.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to try and count how many checks Jexarock did. Give me 1 second here.
Of course. And ladies and gentlemen, I had mentioned this earlier. I'm going to throw the Discord up in the chat again. I would like to challenge you to come on to our Discord, say hi, come on, say at me. I am Drinks Glue. You'll be plopped into our beginner's house, which is full of a bunch of friendly people that are happy to greet you. Come on in, join us, at me. I'll say hi. If you have any questions, throw them out in the chat, and you'll get more answers than you think.
Yeah, so the Magimaster fight, I think, was the difference between the two of them. That and the Serpent Trench. So that is really the difference between our two runners at the moment. And Sid is going back for revenge here, while Jexrock is looking for some stuff to complete his haul. I believe we saw a Mega Elixir in one of the item shops somewhere. I'm guessing that is what he's going to go for. Although we already have one after defeating Magimaster, so I wonder what he's looking for here, Glue.
Oh, when he has. Maybe he's misremembering what he saw there, but with that 254 ultimate, one of his main offenses, a couple of elixirs wouldn't hurt.
Oh, for sure. Restoring MP is something that you need to do because the final Kefka fight is a 4-part multi-tier affair, and it's just non-stop. Very easy to run out of magic power.
It's a true battle of endurance for our runners.
Yeah, so Jexrock has either 14 or 15, depending upon if I can count or not, checks. So he's a long ways off from getting that skip. Skip is at 21, remember? So he's got a bit of a ways to go.
Yeah, really, maybe. What do you think he's looking for here? Is it something he misremembered, or is he just checking for some supplies for the final fight?
Yeah, it looked like he bought some shurikens. 15 is probably enough to get you through Kefka's Tower in the last fight, but always good to have more. You never want to get to the end of Kefka's Tower and go, oh god, I need something, and have to warp out because you can't get it. Here's a spicy play.
Ooh, Bomb Rush. Love to see it.
Is he not level 42? No, he's not.
I believe he is.
He's only level 40. So he can do a couple of things here. What he can do is he can dive into Kefka's Tower with his full party in one of the slots and maybe go beat up the Inferno spot, or maybe beat up the Toilet Atma spot and get himself to 42, teleport out of the tower and come back and learn Bum Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just take the Moogle Charm off and grind, as that is Esper number 8 there for Sid.
Yeah, he could take that Asper off, take some fights here, throw the experience egg on his Blitz user. He could, he's not that far away from the Opera House Dragon, or he's not that far away from the Nars Dragon if he just wants to run up top and do 2 more checks real fast. Because if he's at 15 checks, if he does 2 checks here, he does the full clear on the right side, that puts him right at 20 checks, so he would just either take, 1 Opera House Dragon and he could get the skip. And if he's worried about, having to 1v1 aside, he is not worrying about having to 1v1 aside. He's going straight in.
Yeah, so each of the boss gauntlet spots are not checks. Only the dragons and the Toilet Atma spot is. So in Worlds Collide, checks can reward you with either Esper's characters or items. And since dragons reward you with high-tier items, and since Toilet Atma rewards you with a high-tier item, those are considered checks. Whereas the boss gauntlet, they don't drop any items, so they're not considered checks.
Gotcha.
Looks like Jax is saying never mind to the Bum Rush after all, because he split up his party 2-1-1, so we'll see what he decides to do with his Setzer. And Sid is going to go to the Zozo Tower as well. That is, I guess, the least disgusting check that's left for him, and he will thankfully be rewarded with his go mode at the top.
Yep. His choices were down to Burning House, they were down to Fanatic's Tower. Well, Fanatic's Tower isn't scary, it's just a huge time sink to make it all the way up there and all the way back down.
Yeah, so the difference between our two runners is that Sid ended up doing MOBAs, while Jexrock ended up doing Serpent Trench, so that's basically the difference in checks here. You're right. The other checks that were left on the table were, besides Serpent Trench, Loot River, which we're not doing at this point in the race unless it's required, Burning House, and Fanatic's Tower. I could make an argument, I guess, for Fanatic's Tower, but this is certainly a much faster check than Fanatic's Tower.
Definitely. Shadow Sid showing up what we mentioned earlier, that Narapa is weak to instant death.
Yep. Na. Hey, goodbye.
Well, what Shadow Sid has going for him, Jexrox is comfortably ahead, but he did spend some time looking around, a couple minutes trying to get situated for Final Kefka. That allowed Shadow Sid a few minutes to catch up. If Shadow Sid can go straight in, he's at a comfortable level. He's got very good offense. He can still catch up and win this race.
Yeah, so Sid's highest level there, as we were looking, is 42. So Sid is actually higher level than Jex, which normally would be good because it means that you're able to kill things more quickly. However, it also means his bosses are going to be tougher. So we'll see how much of an effect that has, although I'd argue that 2 levels isn't all that big of a deal, right? So we'll see how much of a difference that actually makes.
Yeah, and Chatternook, not a huge threat, but we'll take a little bit of time for Jexy here.
This looks like another economizer for Shadow Sid.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those annoying fights where, you gotta wait and waste your time. Swapping the Paladin shield onto Locke, who will be on the ground, because Chatternook will counter pretty much everything with lightning spells. So that's good game knowledge here for Jex. Gonna wait until the next phase for Gao to jump, and it's gonna take it down with some shurikens.
Yeah, the gist of the Chatternook Knight, if you want it in 3 bulletin points, is 1, attack the demon, 2, it's going to hit you with a lot of lightning, and 3, it's going to take a while because it has a rather robust HP pool. It is, however, weak to fire, but with I don't believe these are 2 of Jexy's Matt casters, so he's not going to have that fire 3 on him.
Yeah, that's rather unfortunate because Chatternook weak to both Pearl and fire. I'd argue that this would be a case where you would want to use Ultima with maybe Locke. And Gao getting lucky with the dice rolls there.
Very fortunate. Very nice. You love to see a fixed dice give you a good number.
There we go. So we got economizers all around basically on Sid's team. He's not going to be worried about MP in the final battle, whereas Jexrock is going to be a bit more worried about it because he does not have any economizers.
Yeah. Shadow Sid is no longer playing Worlds Collide. He's playing vanilla Final Fantasy VI, and he is ready for the final act.
Chatternook down for Jexrock, so that's the first boss down. And now is the longest part of the tower, though all of the walking to the next set of bosses.
Yeah, 1 down, 4 to go for Jexy.
Alright, so Sid is about 3 minutes or so behind, maybe 4. 4 minutes behind heading into the tower here. We'll see how much time that he makes up by the point when we get to Final Kefka.
Now here's the thing, if I'm Shadow Sid. Some of the Battlegrounds flag set have been rather brutal. So at 1 minute landing into the tower, he might be feeling pretty good about himself. Because in some of the other flag sets that he may have played, such as the Doma or some of the Empire flag sets, runners were going in at 110, 120, having a rough go of it. So he could be feeling pretty good right now. That's why he went and got some economizers and thinking, hey, this is a really good time. Why don't I play it safe and get this thing in the bag for sure, not knowing he's actually trailing by 3 to 4 minutes.
Alright, so it's time for the statue, or not the statue, the switches here from Jex. As we see Sid putting a party of 2 in the middle, and then it looks like he's going to run Terra Gao on the party number 3. Usually party 3 gets most of the fights.
Yeah, your 2 sides are going to take 1 fight, and your third party, there's a lot of different strategies you can do. Do you put character 1, your first strongest character, and your 4th strongest character? Do you put your 3rd and 4th best characters there? Looks like he's going to go is just his best character and let her do all the work there.
Yeah. Alright, so let's see what this Guardian boss is. It is Rexol. So in Worlds Collide, the whole Zinger concept of Rexol inhabiting one of your characters until you get them to really critical levels of HP is really problematic, especially in Kefka's Tower, because we basically have to almost kill our whole team, essentially, to figure out which of the soul Rexol had. So we decided, you know what, we're not going to do all that. We're just going to have Rexol available the whole time, but that also prevents the vanilla speedrun strat of just using Raiden or Odin to just get rid of the two soul savers and win the fight very easily. So it's a bit of a balanced decision there that we decided on it. So
yeah, Jexy for the chat asking the question of isn't Jexy a bit ahead here? He's about 4 minutes ahead, I'd say.
Yeah, so this is the first boss of the boss gauntlet. Meanwhile, Shadow Sid is taking on the Inferno spot here with Chatternook.
Yeah, as we saw with Jexy, Chatternook isn't nothing to be super afraid of, but it just has a rather large HP pool that will take a few minutes to dwindle down.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help when Charm happens.
It's not,
this could be very bad.
One on the one character.
Oh boy. And it looks like you got a vanilla poltergeist here.
Oh no, let's see what auto life through coming in handy for Shadow Sid here. I think he should still be fine, and he does have his fire through, which Swan's mentioned earlier. Chatternook weak to fire, weak to pearl, quad nines. This shouldn't be too much trouble the rest of the way.
I thought I saw somebody have stop on them. I don't know if that was Jex Rock or somebody else. It looks like Jex is going to use quick and then he's going to use jump. This is disgusting. Because this will take a very long time for Gao to just use jump twice. And the other ATBs are frozen while he's up in the air. So he gets to do lots of fixed dice damage.
He doesn't suplex the train. He doesn't pet the dog. He makes us look at a frame that's standing still. Jexy is not a big fan tonight.
All right, and Sid is through that Chatternook fight, although Gao would like a word, because he got doomed and then he got smashed into the ground. Casting haste on his party so that Gao goes just a little bit faster now.
And this probably isn't the fastest way for Jexy to take down Poltergeist here, but it's definitely the safest, because if you can just get that quick off, lock him so he can't act, and just slowly get some good rolls and get him on. Nothing wrong with this play. It's just not the fastest one you could possibly do.
And there it is. Poltergeist is down. So that's going to be definitely a hurdle that Sid is going to have to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
That fight can get dangerous rather quickly due to Poltergeist himself being able to cast Stop and then casting Blaster to instant death one of your party members. So it then becomes a recovery battle. So 2 bosses of the boss gauntlet down for Jex, and Sid is going to be taking on his first boss in just a moment here. And it looks like he's going to do a little okie doke where he's going to have that Mog Setzer party go up the middle. So Terra is going to get 2 fights, and Mog Setzer is also going to get 2 fights in Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, to go back to that Poltergeist point, he will cast Stop on you, and after he casts Stop on a character, he's going to take that character off that board. There's a couple of different ways you can deal with that. One, if you get a character that's stopped, the spell remedy, not the item, but the spell remedy will take Stop away from your character. 2, this is really thinking outside the box, but you can put Reflect up on your one viable character if you're taking that fight 1v1. And that way, if he does happen to cast Stop, he will cast it on himself, which he is susceptible to.
That's my favorite way. It's actually Dispel and not Remedy that cures Stop. Remedy will cure like the negative status effects that last after the party's done, whereas Dispel gets rid of the status effects that are in battle only. Like Remedy will take care of Imp and Poison and all that stuff, stuff that lasts outside of battle, but things like Stop or what's another bad one? Seizure or Sap, that'll use Dispel. And it's Guardian here, oh god. Not a fun fight for Jex either.
Yeah, Kaiser, I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong, my dog, but Kaiser asking, Jex guy assuming he's got no takedown Kefka here. This is probably the 1,718th time, Jex. So he's a veteran of the Wall Squad community. He knows the way. So if someone like Jexy, if he's in the tower and he's going through, he knows what he's working with. I'm feeling pretty confident that he's going to take down Kefka with no trouble here.
Yeah, so Sid, unfortunately, showing one of the downsides of Ultima is that it will make this fight excruciatingly annoying, because it will basically kill the Soul Savers every single turn, and we'll have to watch their animations spawn back in over and over again. So he actually switched to Flare, which will kill Rexol certainly a lot faster, but Flare is also a spell that has a very long casting animation time.
Yeah, Rexol has some pretty high magic defense, so Flare isn't the worst idea despite the long casting time, just because it will pierce that magic defense.
Oh, does Remedy Cure stop? I thought it was only Dispel that cured stop. I better go look up my stuff. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't know why people decided to put me on stream.
What we would like to do is just get like an instant replay booth, and we could have Boo go off to the side, load up his emulator, get stop cast on his Terror, and let's see if Remedy cures rolling.
Yep, so here you go. Dispel and Remedy. So you're both right, I guess. Interesting.
Alright, so Shadow Sid getting his own taste of the spicy chicken on his own.
Yummy. Who's hungry?
I don't have the emote currently, but if you have the emote, as you saw earlier from Swan,
yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Throw it up in the chat. Let's give Shadow Sid some support for this tough battle.
Yeah, he'll be fine with Ultima. The only problem is his one character does not have an economizer on, which can be a bit of a problem. And Jackson's going to show us the other last boss here, the final boss of the boss gauntlet. So Shadow Sid is about 1.5 bosses behind here.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, probably at the same time as when they were started, when we mentioned earlier, about a 4-minute time difference between the two.
Okay, this is an interesting fight. The tentacles, or the grabby pasta as I like to call them, that bottom left one there is susceptible to instant death. That bottom right one will absorb fire. Okay, good, he casted Bolt on it. And is weak to ice. So the thing with this fight about it in Kefka's Towers can get rather annoying, because those tentacles can grab you, and once they do, your character is basically out of the fight for a couple of turns, as now Setzer is going to be on a smoke break here, and Jexrock is going to have to try and get rid of that tentacle that has Setzer. It's not necessarily going to be a deadly fight here, Glue, it's just going to take a while.
Yeah, one thing you can do to combat that once they afflict you with slow, they're going to grab you in the next turn. One thing you can do to combat that is get haste up or equip some running shoes, just so you can't be inflicted with slow. And this is how Shadow Sid can catch up. Jexy's in no risk to die here, but as you can see, that clock is ticking, and Jexy is not making any progress.
Yeah, particularly if Shadow Sid can get off a 1-2 of Ultima and take out all the noodles at once before he gets grabbed, he could certainly make up some time here.
Yeah. Yeah, but Jexy taking off the training weights and letting Ultima fly.
There you go.
And that will do it. So Shadow Sid caught up about 30 seconds while Jexy was caught up literally and figuratively there.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, he's about 2 bosses ahead now. One interesting thing about Life 3 is if your character is dead when the battle starts, Auto Life 3 will pick them right back up again. Although Gao is probably just going to fall on the floor one more time. Shadow Sid pulling out Bolt 3, it does quad 9s. You can't do any more damage than that in a single turn. So instead of waiting... Oh, God! Instead of waiting the time for Ultima, he's going to use that instead, and this is going to get...
Oh no!
This has potential to be a problem if Guardian cannot be stopped here.
Yeah, Guardian has a pretty robust HP pool, just like Chatternook. So quad nines, it's going to take 3 or 4 of these at this level to take him down. That explosion is very, very nice, but as you saw, one wave cannon will take out Terra if he gets it off again. But luckily, he will not. He's just going to throw some tentacles out there.
All right, so Jexrock up to the final fight. The order of your party actually matters with the final fight. The person in the 4th slot actually goes first on turns 2, 3, and 4. So we want that person in slot 4 to have something to nullify parts of the other final boss. So we'll see how Jexy decides to code it up here. as we do have access to some instant death to take care of that long arm. We do have some fire to take care of the face. So that is the order of operations for this particular part of the battle, so we don't get death countered with Quake. That would be bad.
Unless you by chance had Gaia gears equipped. I believe there was one stream you were calling me when I ate a Quake from an Atma weapon. I had Gaia gears equipped and it saved me. That was
yeah.
the moment of my life.
That's the way to do it.
Of course. So the head is very susceptible to fire. This should do some quad 9s, as you can see. That head needs to go down before the short arm does, because that head will fire off Quake if it's the last one alive.
Yeah, so if you have float, you could also use that as well. If you don't have access to Gaia gear, that will certainly help. But it looks like Jex has remembered his order of operations here and is going to be fine. Tentacles fight coming here for Shadow Sid.
Yeah, I don't believe this is one of his Ultima parties, so he's not going to be able to fire him away at will.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about Worlds Collide here, KSR, is that you never know what characters we're going to get because it's a randomizer, right? So we have to go with what the seed gives us. And that's one of the great things I love about the Worlds Collide randomizer is it's a different experience every time. Even though, yes, the final battle is pretty much the same every time. The rest of it leading up to that can be quite different. And the battles themselves, the final battle can be quite different depending upon what you have or what you don't have is probably more appropriate, right?
Yeah, there's something to be said for having targetable offense and phases of the final kick of fight. There's when you're doing quad 9s with a Valiant Knife, it's great until all those quad 9s land on the wrong part.
Alright, well, Sid getting tripped up by the Tentacles as well. We knew that this had the possibility of happening.
Yeah, while Jexy gave some of that time back at his technical fight, Shadow Sid is losing all that time he may have gained.
Alright, well, we can Doom Tools, which we've taken care of right there, and we can mute magic in the back that only casts spells. That's what the Siren Esper summon was for.
And Shadow,
so now, I'm sorry,
Shadow's going to eat it here. He only has seconds to live, and he's got poison on him. Excuse me, he's got poison. No, he doesn't have poison. Excuse me, he must have a ribbon on. But he's about to get seized and go down.
Yep. That's for Strago. Couldn't handle his squid. Cause of death, choking on calamari.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Shadow Sid, but sometimes those are the breaks.
Yep, so now that he knows what this fight is, let's see if he makes some adjustments here. Because usually you don't equip your meat shield character, and it looks like he's going to during this particular process, and he'll be more ready for this fight now.
Yeah,
Death counter. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there are some phases when you're doing these solo fights. Step 1 is ram head first into it, see what happens. Step 2 is you get smashed back a little bit, so you equip that meat shield a little, beef him up a little bit, see if you can get through it. And if that doesn't get through, most runners are going to reset out and just bring a full party to the table.
Yeah, so here we see, Bahamut spell targeting all of the tentacles for, well, what I thought was going to be a lot more damage. But still, that's a way to spread out the offense there, is to make sure that you can go ahead and kill multiple tentacles at a time.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back to Jexy here. Jexy's got one piece of the puzzle left on tier 2, and then he's off to the races to finish this thing up.
Yeah, it looks like this is the death counter for magic here. So he will be going on to tier number 3, which is probably the most interesting part of this fight, aside from regular Kefka. We do have access to Golem, which will give us some calmness protection, as well as that Auto Life 3 we talked about earlier. Girl will both heal and revive the other part, so we want to take out Girl first. But Girl absorbs every single element. That isn't going to be a problem with access to things like Ultima and Tech Missile and Throw. But we'll see how it goes, because that other part of this boss can counter with some pretty nasty spells and can deplete our HP rather quickly. So,
Yeah, he can throw a Merton at you. You know, there's a certain point when his H pull reaches that he will fire off Mito in what feels like every second. But as long as you play it a little safe here, you know, tier 3, a lot of runners can handle. Yeah, and Jaxie playing it a little safe, getting his party back to a respectable amount of HP just in case. Out comes the golem, which is... Oh, excuse me. Yeah, out comes the golem, which is going to take care of that calmness when he gets to it.
All right, well, there is the bad part about having ultimate cost 250 MP is that Setzer is going to have to eat an elixir here, which is probably earlier than Jaxie would have wanted to have done that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, girl is now down, and we've just got sleep to go here. So looking at the time, Jax has got like a 6.5 minute lead. Sid lost some time there with both the reset to the Tentacles fight and taking a bit longer to take down Guardian.
Yeah, that... Jaxie's not in too much trouble here as long as he doesn't trigger a Mito counter.
Yeah, one more throw should probably do it.
Yeah, he's about to have his throw queued up. He's about to have his tech missile queued up. And it's about that time for sleep to go down.
Alright, we're going to do this the long way with Gao doing the quick double jump.
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely going to be safe because we will not get countered with Meteor after this first turn. That's pretty much guaranteed. Sid is going to have to be careful here because if he kills all of the parts of this boss at the same time, he's going to eat a quake to the face.
Well, a quake to the feet, not to the face.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, at this point, Kazar, I don't think Sid has much of a chance. The only chance he has is Jaxie slips up. And with Calmness Protection in the bag, this angel, this one-wing angel up here, he's not going to be alive much longer. Jaxie's got this in the bag, I'd confidently say. But stick around to find out. I've been wrong before.
Yeah, we do have a Mega Elixir from winning that Magi Master fight, which is nice for Fallen One, but this is Final Kefka. Anything can happen, and this race is certainly not over yet, as we see some more Ultima. Again, here comes the Quake that we mentioned. Does he have enough HP to tank it? Probably not for Mog. Oh, I was mistaken. Definitely not for Terra, but making use of that auto life 3 there.
Yeah. Very useful there. It may bite him later on tier 3, but I don't think with Golem in the bag as well, I don't think so. So what Jaxie's got to do, Jaxie has shown the habit of playing it safe so far with his quick and jump and his jump strat earlier. Really what could take Jaxie down here is if he gets an Ultima to the face and then turns around and eats another one. But he's shown a propensity to cast quick, waited out with that jump going twice. I think he's going to play it safer and he's going to finish it up comfortably.
Yeah, remember we also have life 3 on some of our characters too, right? So even if we do eat an Ultima, which with these high HP levels, I don't think it will be a problem. But even if we do eat an Ultima, we do have that life 3 to potentially get re-raised afterwards. We just have to be careful, not queue up too many attacks. This is where weight tricking really comes in handy with the final battle, is Sid casting that Siren to mute the magic in the back. And using the X Zone in order to, I was going to say take out tools, but of course, commentator curse there.
Yeah, X Zone is not perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Unless it is targeted on your party, then it is always perfect.
So now that Goddard is charging up, Kefka will not counterattack, so now is the time for Ultima, now is the time for everything, and we'll see. I think that might do it there. Boom shakalaka. Time is on the first flash, so Jexrox has finished with a first place time. 1:22.12 is his official time.
Yeah, put your GGs in the chat for the Jexie, baby.
Sid not too far behind here. As we are joined by our first place winner tonight, Jexrock. Congratulations on your first place win. GG's, and tell us what you thought about the seed.
GG's. This seed was interesting. I liked I liked all the buffs you got from whenever you collected a character. That made things interesting. I don't know who gave Auto Life 3, but that was certainly convenient. Ah, okay. Yeah, that was convenient for a couple of battles, such as Magi Master. Because I was not about to reset and have to go get Strago all over again. Yeah, I was a little worried about that battle, but I pushed my way through it, and yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, so there was definitely a couple of times where we ran up against some things that caused a bit of a struggle. Most notably, the second boss that you fought in the seed, the Ifrit Shiva fight. You had to sort of take off the Moogle Charm, learn some Fire 3, wait for Shiva to show back up, and then just obliterate her into 1,000 pieces. And the Magi Master fight. Were you a bit worried that you were losing some time after sinking more time into those two fights?
Not too much. Those two instances right there did prevent me from getting a sub 120 for sure. But overall, I am quite happy with my time on this one. The Ifrit fight, I'm just like, my damage output is not where it needs to be for this one because their physical defense is so high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's think about this for a hot second. Fire 3, I'm about to learn. Let's do this. So that was my thought process on that.
And that was the useful Esper that you got from doing the Umaro fight prior to that. Whereas, if you didn't go to Umaro before that, you might not have had that Fire 3 spell in order to learn. So that's, pretty convenient routing on your part for sure. So you did like the all of the different bonuses that you got for the characters. Did the party highest scaling make some of the bosses feel like a bit of a slog towards the middle of the seed?
Only the real slog fight that I had was the Magi Master. That one took the longest. But that's
and tentacles in Kefka's Tower, which is always annoying.
True, but then I realized, oh wait a minute, I got Ultima. Let's dump this on them and see what happens. And, wipe them.
Yeah, for sure.
Aside from that, Spicy Chicken, running into him in his natural habitat, had me concerned for a hot second there. I'm glad he did not throw stop on me. That would have...
Yeah, we saw you using Quick with Gal with the jump just to make sure. It did take a little bit longer, but, you just wanted to stop that ATB from him casting something bad on your party, so.
Yep, pretty much that was it, especially since my speed was so high. I was able to, just constantly keep it up and just, drag and dice him to death.
Yeah, if you're wondering, Jexy, Shadow Sid is just coming up on Final Kefka now. While I got you here, one, don't you dare eat another cookie in front of me.
Two, can't eat any cookies right now. The chat won't let me.
Good. That's what I like to hear. I do have a question for you. Before you went into Kefka Tower, you went to South Figaro, you went to Returners. What were you looking for there?
Returners? Just a bonus. Wait, Returners. I was looking for throwables.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I had plenty when I went in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and Shurikens is dirt cheap. They got mediocre, power level on them. By the way, I ate a cookie.
Yum.
Well, sorry, a crab cake.
Yuck.
Aside from that, that was pretty much what I was looking for end game. So was to make sure I had plenty of throwables. Then of course, once I got to the statues, it was past the Pally Shield and past the EXP egg to everybody to boost those last second levels. The initial plan with that EXP egg when I got my hands on it was to get bum rush on Setzer, but I'm like,
Mhm.
Fire 3 costs 38 MP. My magic power is who knows what because I'm sitting on a +2 magic Esper on him. I don't need it.
Yeah, you did have that magic power Esper pretty early.
Yes, that was on the first Esper I got my hands on. The one off of Umaru.
When you found the Esper with Ultima ×7, did you jump up and down? Did you do a little dance? How did you celebrate?
Not really. Because it's just so expensive to cast.
Yeah.
And
Very
Fire
true.
3 is just a faster animation, cost more than a quarter of the price.
Way less with 254,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, way less than 254. It's more like a sixth of the price of Ultima.
Yeah.
So, but I did end up casting Ultima on tier 2, and obviously I went for the ultimate kill on Final Kafka. So, a little
Speaking
bit
of ultimate kills, that is Shadow Sid. 128.59 is he is done now as well. So, any other final thoughts on the flag set? Did you like this one better, worse than some of the other Battlegrounds flag sets that you've been playing so far?
This is certainly one of the easier of the flag sets that I have ran into so far. I was worried about the Velt one, but RNG was in my favor on that one, and it just turned out to be pretty simple, thankfully. But these flag sets have been a lot of fun. Aside from that, final thoughts before I run away. Anybody who is new to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide or is interested in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, go to ff6worldscollide.com. We have a link to our Discord. We've got a wonderful community that's willing to come in, help you get set up, help you learn the randomizer, and yeah, just join in the fun. This Battlegrounds thing is going to be quite interesting, especially since it's, team on team for this one. Aside from that, give our Restream team and our runners a follow on their Twitch channels and all that happy fun stuff. And GG's, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure, my dog.
GG's.
All right, and with that, we'll drag Sid in. What's going on, Sid? Congratulations on finishing this particular race. You got any thoughts on the flag set in this seed in particular before we ask you some interesting questions?
Seemed pretty easy to me as far as like the flag set goes. There was a couple things I got tripped up on, sure, but nothing really got in the way.
Yeah, it seems like for you found those economizers and you found that Ultima, and you're like, yes, it is definitely worth 65k to be able to spam the big blue win button over and over again here in this seed. So I approve of that message.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely slow, but you don't get to do it very often in Worlds Collide.
Correct.
So I
Yep.
thought that would be a fun, just like teach everybody Ultima. Let's go.
It makes it fun,
Yeah.
But thoughts on the flag set overall, where it was sort of like recruit character, get reward. Did you enjoy having that aspect of this particular seed?
Yeah, I mean that made sense. Most of the rewards paired with like the characters that they made sense with. I learned a lot about Life 3 today.
Tara certainly learned a lot about it in that final fight. I think she got re-raised on tiers 1, 3, and 4. So yeah, the auto status effects will take effect at the start of each of the tiers, which is great if it's Life 3,
It also triggers on dead party members at the beginning of battle.
Yes, which is fun.
I had no idea it would do that
as well.
Yeah. And it doesn't work while you're grabbed in tentacles. Because on my wipe to tentacles, I still had a Life 3 on Strago, and it just gave me the eliminated.
That I didn't.
Pressing him.
Yeah, that I didn't notice actually, because he never gets discarded, right? So
yeah,
that's probably
yeah. I learned.
Yeah, let go of me, you stupid grabby pasta. So Yeah, the other interesting thing about this flag set is that the scaling is party highest times 1, and very early on in the seed, we ended up with an experience egg. And did you sort of do like a double take to, well, now I need to go pass this around so I don't get my enemies so over leveled over the rest of my characters? What were your thoughts going through your mind there?
Initially, I wanted to get as few mass combat encounters as possible. So, like Serpent Trench was kind of out. Elite River, eventually Burning House, stuff like that. I was kind of straying away from those to keep my levels lower for the bosses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I accidentally didn't succeed in fleeing from the Ifrit battle. So Setzer got a ton of levels. Like, well, that's not going to work, so let's just roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah, we mentioned in the broadcast booth that was a very impressive display of game knowledge that very much backfired.
Yep. Like, oh no, 2 people ran. I was like, I'll get it on the next one. Nope, he just dies.
One of our viewers has a question for you, Sid. I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit. So new one seeing this flag set, knowing Jaxie just finished 6 minutes ahead of you, what adjustments do you think you'd make for the next time for the event to come out ahead next time?
Oh, I probably wouldn't spam Ultima. That's a really slow spell. I had Fire 3 and Bolt 3, and they were doing, sufficient enough damage targeted. I was just doing that because I never get to. It was fun.
Yeah.
That probably added 5 minutes at least.
I don't think it added that much time, but you definitely saw, like, when you saw that, Bolt 3 on Guardian was doing quad 9s, you're like, well, I guess I don't need Ultima here, do I? So.
Well, I wasn't going to go completely overboard in Ultima. Let's be reasonable here.
Yeah.
The weakness, I'm going to exploit it.
Yeah, well, it especially stinks when you get boss battles like Rexel, where if you try to use Ultima, it's just like, well, Ultima already is a long spell, and now with the Soul Savers respawning every single turn, this is just going to take forever. So, we did see you pivot to a different strategy there. So, lots of heads-up game knowledge that you displayed on stream. Well done.
Hey, thanks. That was a mean Magimaster position, I thought.
Yeah, so Jax and you were both fighting it at the same time. He ended up getting through it in spite of the fact that his gal was trying his best to kill his own party with the with the curse shield. But yes, always fun stuff. Good old curse shield. So yeah, any other final questions, Drink School, for Sid?
Sid, what side are you going to be on, my dog? You doing returners? You doing Imperials? Have you decided yet?
I just kind of toss the dice to let them decide for me. I'm in that pool. So,
nothing wrong with that. Now it's up to teams.
I don't really mind which team I get because, play either way.
Yeah, I think the event is going to be a heck of a lot of fun. I'm with you. I don't really care which side I get to go on as long as we win.
Oh, right. No, I mean, we got to win. That's
as long as I'm on the opposite team as Jex Rocks now, because I didn't know we were adversaries until tonight.
Well, I do have to say that even though Jex did win the race, neither of you actually won the race because neither one of you suplexed the Phantom Train.
Oh yeah, we were very disappointed, by the way.
I kind of think I forgot I had Blitz at that point.
You did use Aura Bolt. I don't know if you had enough levels to actually learn Suplex, because that was, I think, you did that check immediately after doing Daryl's Tomb, right? So your Setzer may have been, not high enough level to get to Suplex. Well, if he was 10, then he learned Suplex, and you're dead to me, Sid.
Sorry. I just know he was 10 coming out of that, because whoops.
Yep, it's all right. Jex didn't do it either, so technically neither of you won. Everybody lost, and that happens sometimes. Not everybody can be a winner,
I honestly thought about dropping the Blitzer out of the party anyway. There was some interesting party configurations that were available.
Yeah, both you and Jex Rocks did slightly different things. He used Throw with Lock and Magitech with Strago, with Setzer and Gao, and whereas you, I think, leaned on Terra with her very high magic power, in place of one of the other characters. So,
yeah, I mean, once I knew I had Ultima, I was like, this whatever. I don't really care who has what.
Did you do a fist pump when you found you had Ultima coming?
It was definitely surprising because Mog learned it through natural magic at
Oh, wow.
20 something, and then
Interesting.
I used that to take care of Magimaster, who I think Siren was behind that, and that
Mhm.
taught Ultima at an X7 rate.
Yes.
And then
So
your
like,
paladin
oh,
shield.
everybody
Oh.
gets it. Oh yeah, and the Paladin Shield, but that got uncursed literally at the last possible fight on
Yeah.
the temples.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the Curse Shield in this flag set with Ultima on, or some of the other flag sets with having Ultima. It makes it that much more enticing to go after to uncurse, right? So.
Oh, we have to talk about Hydon.
Okay.
Was anybody counting those chests with me? I got a single 5, and everything else was ones or twosies.
You guys are both in there at the same time, and I think Jex got more rooms with no chests in it, but you definitely got the bad counting.
Yeah,
Being
some
punked.
fun fact. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sid.
I was just saying, it felt like I was being punked. Wait a second. These are supposed to have 5s in them sometimes.
You had a pretty good, decent run of just single ones, about 4 or 5 in a row. That was just brutal.
Yeah. I love Jex's comment. They were hiding just. Yeah. In some of those rooms, are supposed to be chests. Anyway, any other final thoughts, Sid, before we let you go?
No, enjoyed racing Jex. I haven't done it in a really long time, so this is a nice little throwback for me, and I had fun doing it.
Yeah, well, as I didn't mention to Jex, but I'll mention to you, thank you to the runners for volunteering to be on Restream. Can't have the races without the runners, so thank you so much for volunteering. It's great to see you back in a race again. And we'll catch you on the next one, man.
Thanks. GG's. Thanks for putting it on and hosting. I love these.
No problem. Thank you for participating. Catch you later.
We appreciate you.
Have a good one.
All right, so we saw some excellent Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide action here tonight with Jexarock and Shadow Sid. There were other racers that were not featured on Restream, and all of them have finished the race. I think the last participant was 136 and change. So all around, this was a very, very close race, Glue, and this is a pretty Jetty flag set, I think, given you get buffs for all of your characters and you get access to Ultima. But, sometimes you need some good flag sets because there's certainly a lot of unforgiving ones in some of the other battlegrounds here.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Jexy and Sid have been working their way through these flag sets, and depending on which one you start with first, you may think that this is a torture event. But this is definitely one of the faster ones, and I think it's going to be one of the leaders in contention. Each week it's available for most played. I'm definitely going to give it a go when it pops up.
Yeah, I really like doing, some of the different flag sets that are a bit different, that cause you to think, slightly differently than normal and adjust your strategy here. Neither one of our runners, I don't think, was very close to doing the 21 check Kefka Tower skip. It just so happened the way that the cookie crumbled, if you will, to use a metaphor from the race room there. But yeah, so we will be doing some more races here on SpeedGaming at some different times. Hopefully we will be doing our weeklies once again. We also have a YouTube channel of our own, FF6 Worlds Collide, also on Twitch, where we'll be also doing streaming of our events. As Glue, I think you mentioned earlier, August 13th is the start of the placement round, where all of the runners get to do a flag set, and we get to separate out which players are going to be going on to which teams. So that should be an interesting one.
We'll be able to separate the realm from the cyans, though. And then after that, the players will be divided in the two competitive teams, and then we'll go from there. We'll just tear each other to shreds, see what happens. Maybe destroy the world in the process.
All right. So you got any other final thoughts before we head out of here?
Yeah, and we mentioned this before multiple times. Kazar, I want to see you in the event personally. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. If you haven't, come on down to the Discord, join us. I'm not saying you got to fire up a seed and start playing, but just join us, get your feet wet, introduce yourself. I'd love to introduce myself to you personally. At me if you join, let me know if you come. I'll say hi. Come join us.
All right, thanks, Glue, and we will catch everybody on the next one again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to the runners for running, and thank you, Glue, for hanging with me here in the booth for a bit. Always a pleasure to do commentary. Yeah.
All right, everybody else, just have a good night.
All right, catch you next time. Bye-bye, peace.